Hello, welcome to the Knock On KCLR and Scoreline.ie's weekly rugby podcast. Johnny Tobin and Tom Crotty joins us, and James Blanchfield will hopefully be joining us towards the end of the podcast. He's away in the foreign country trying to get to a hotel, and he's stuck in traffic. He says brutal, but James might be catching up with us a little bit later on. Lads, how's it going?
Not too bad, Stephen. Yourself?
Not too bad. We're recording this on a Thursday, so it's the day that Munster take on South Africa, and in Park Equive, a sold-out Park Equive. So the best of luck to them. There's probably no point talking about it now, because by the time you're listening to the podcast, it'll be over. But we'll talk about a lot of stuff. If we get to it later, Ireland, South Africa, Ireland, Fiji, but the more important stuff, the local stuff, we're going to chat about first. Kilkenny have had a break for a couple of weekends. They're up against Boyne this weekend, but Carlow and Tullow have been in action. Carlow beating Dundalk last weekend, Tom, 50 points to 17, one of the biggest wins you've had in Oak Park in a while. That's some going.
Biggest win, I'd say. I can't remember the last time we put 50 points on the team. Cracking game. We started off with the seconds. The seconds lost out narrowly to Dundalk seconds. Actually, some Dundalk seconds were extremely good. I think our lads ran out of a bit of steam. Dundalk had a very heavy pack, very strong pack. And to be honest, our backline was quite good in the first half, and then in the second half, we got a couple of good tries in the second half with the backs, but the forwards we didn't have the bulk to keep going. Didn't have the bench to with the injuries that we've had over the last while. We didn't have the bench to kind of match Dundalk, and they got a few handy tries kind of near the end, and. Whoever Dundalk's 10 is under seconds. I haven't seen a kicker like that in a long, long time. Jesus, he slotted them from everything. He won the game for them. I don't think he missed a kick. I think actually did he miss one? He missed one kick in the whole game, and then everything else was pinged from every direction. So, look, the seconds will bounce back. It was they learn an awful lot from that game. Then we moved on to the first. Yeah, the boys played probably the best rugby they played all season. It's not taken away from Dundalk, where their forward pack is normal. We're very strong. Probably lacking a bit of imagination in the backline. Their backline was kind of, it wasn't a real threat. But typical Dundalk, when they got into, if you allow them into the 22, they're a danger, and that's when they got two. I mean, they got two forward tries, bang bang, or three forward tries actually in the end, just kind of barreled their way over. And we had that from the start, if we let them, we knew very similar to Longford, that if you let them into the 20, let them into the 22 or close to the line, that can be very hard to stop. But we said last week we were going to work a lot on our penalty count, and the penalty count, we only gave away 2 penalties in the first half, which is huge.
Wales gave away both of them, did he?
Which was a huge improvement. Wales gave away one of them. And second half, then we gave away was a couple more, but the lads are going to the left. G came back on the pitch, but after his injury, came back on. But that's only a personal joke with us. Look, it was a superb performance across the board. We soaked up an awful lot of their pressure. Our execution, sometimes at times we probably pushed it a little bit. Like we got some good tries in the first half, and coming into the second half, then we lulled off for a little while. They came back and they got 2 tries, bang bang, after hours, and we were, which wasn't good enough from our point, because we were trying to keep the points difference good on it. But I mean, there was some massive performances in the game. John Lyons, Paddy Mackey, and Owen Edgehill, outstanding in the pack this week. Richie White, Richie Gomab, our elder Lemon, played in full control from full back. Just was absolutely awesome this weekend. Again, his kicking was, his kicking for touch, the way he just managed the game really, really well. But the back tries were super. Really, really, absolutely cracking tries. And
that's the best way I've ever heard Richie White being described, an elder Lemon.
Yeah, Elder Lemon, but he's our Elder Lemon, and we're very proud of him. Definitely very proud of him after the weekend. Scott Neal, the young hooker, played again, had a storming game, has really been a revelation. His darts were really, really good, has come on. He got his chance 2 weeks ago, and in the second half 2 weeks ago, and he's just come on leaps and bounds since then. Everything was good except for we lost Sam Cullen, who had a great game in the centre, really, really won probably his best game in the centre, but had been kind of saying towards the end of the second half that he's a little something was niggling in his foot. But later on, we got a lovely picture of Sam in Waterford Hospital after breaking a bone in his foot.
Got one myself, Tom.
Yeah, not too happy. Not too happy about it. He's not too happy about it. But look, he'll be back. He'll be back soon. But I think it was a really, really good performance. But look, we have to bin that one now because we have a massive task ahead, really big task ahead we have to go away to Cill Dara now, and it's going to be more of the same. I think Cill Dara's pack, big pack, strong pack, physical pack. Again, so this is going to be like 3 weeks in a row facing into the same, facing into the same similar sort of side, and I think they had a tough enough game there at the weekend themselves, and it's going to be look at this stage of the season, and Johnny knows their leagues aren't won or lost, but this is now coming in. They are the most important games coming into Christmas, and I think from our point of view, we have to take each game as a cup game. No matter what happened on the pitch last Sunday, you have to bin it and come out with the same intensity. But you have a different team in front of you, and we got to play to that. And Cill Dara you have to give them the height of respect because they've always given us a good game, been very close at times. So they'll be looking probably for revenge from last year's games as well. So you have to be prepared. I think the team will be very similar to last week, except as I say, Sam is out, which is a loss. But hopefully, please God, he'll be back in. We have young Sean Quinlan. Sean is back in, so Sean will probably step in. We haven't had the full team yet, but Sean will step in instead of Sam in the centre, and he'll give it his absolute all. He scored a cracking try.
I looked after you on that one, Tom.
Thanks, Johnny. I know you did.
He gave Sean Quinlan the week off in college.
Yeah,
he needs it, I think.
Yeah, he just needs a break because he's only really coming back from injury. And again, when you play, it is tough going to play college and play in the club.
Yeah.
And he's loving it. To be honest, their college are doing so well. He's loving it down there as well. All the lads, we have a few from the college, and they're all enjoying the rugby. So, but it's just the main thing for us is trying to keep the injuries down. We still have that injury list that's there, but hopefully now. Really looking forward to Cill Dara at the weekend. The lads are buzzing, so but it's up to them we've done all the hard work that's been done. They've as I say, we've worked on penalties. We've after the last game, after the Longford game, we worked really hard on trying to avoid the breakdown penalties, and we did. And you can see the difference when you're not giving away penalties. The difference in score lines can help. So, can't wait. Look, it's another game, another day, another game.
I think, Tom, we sometimes kind of frustrate yourselves rather than frustrate other teams in defence. That kind of penalty count. Any team can keep their penalty count below 8 to 10 in a game, they're doing all right. But you were giving that away in halves,
we've
at
given
times,
away. Yeah,
that's not nitpicking. That probably is facts.
You're
giving away a good lot of penalties.
It is fact, Johnny. Even playing Tullow, I think it was 18 penalties to even Tullow gave away a lot.
And exactly. Yeah, and
18, 15, I think was a penalty count, but that's not good enough for either side. But it's not good enough for us, and we've given away that 18 penalties.
Well, I put it this way: it's not good enough to win. It's not good enough to win the league.
No. Any team that's giving away a lot of penalties like that is not good enough to win. It's not. It's just not. Look, your accuracy. It's the key fact is rugby's about being accurate, small little details, and it's those little details really add up at the end of the season. If you're playing well and you're accurate and you're minding all the little things, making sure that you're not giving away those penalties in key positions, kicking positions. Like, all right, you can give away a penalty. You can give away a penalty. If you give away a penalty in their 22 grand, but if you give away a penalty in your half, with the quality of kickers that are around at the moment, I mean, some fantastic.
Yeah, under pressure.
Any team would come under pressure. Like, if that fellow had been playing on from their seconds, if their seconds out half have been playing that Dundalk, some of those penalties that we gave away would have been slotted.
Yeah.
Might have been a different story.
Well, best of luck, Tom, this weekend against Cill Dara. Like you said, you've had a couple of physical teams, but you've come out on top, positively over the last few matches as well. So, can take a lot of confidence out of that as well. Fingers crossed it all goes to plan at the weekend. Tom, ladies rugby wise, are the Rhinos out in action or what's the story?
We had Rhinos had the under 14s lost narrowly to the Sharks, which is they lost away in Tarn 45-38, but that little under 14s team is coming along very nicely. It's great to see the numbers that they have out every week. The joint coaches again between Carlow and Tullow. There's some quality coaches involved, and it's great to have. Our under 16s had a massive win against there's a Kestrels or whatever up in the quarterfinal of the plate. And so we're playing the semi-final next weekend. Next weekend, actually got a home semi-final. So we're playing in Tullow. We're playing in Tullow in 2 weeks' time. That's the semi-final of the plate. We've gained a few new players. With Hannah Murphy, I think Hannah Murphy, she's came in at out half. Hannah was just absolutely outstanding. We were short. Our out half wasn't available that night, and Hannah only had her first game, half a game 2 weeks ago. She scored 7 tries, 5 of them in a row from out half. I did say to her, Hannah, I said, all you've got to do, I said, look, is pass the ball. I said, don't worry about it. He said, you know what you have to do? Just pass the ball, look up. I said, if you see a gap, go for it. And in fairness, she saw the gaps. And
she saw 7 of them.
And that was absolutely outstanding. But look, the girls had it. They played really, they're starting to really buy into it. They're actually, you can see that they're starting to get better understanding of the game. And it's absolutely fantastic for them. And as I say, we actually can't say enough about them. And I keep saying every week, any girl ever wants to pick up rugby anywhere in the vicinity, anywhere in Carlow or the outskirts and Wicklow heading into Tullow, that whole direction. The two clubs there are, as I say, we're joined with Tullow, and we it's really super to see what's happening.
Absolutely.
And then, as like our youths, wasn't a whole lot happening with youths playing last weekend, but we'll have to mention our under 18s had a very, very good win against Longford away. They won 55-22. Sound performance all around from them.
Excellent.
So, look, it's great to have a couple of wins under our belt this weekend. And we're looking forward to moving ahead this weekend.
Absolutely. We'll move on to Tullow now. Johnny, Longford last weekend got the better of them. Nice job. Yeah. Lovely done. Carlow softened them up a bit for you this week.
Softened them up, yeah. Done us a favour. They done one on Dundalk as well for next week.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It was a decent performance, but as typical fashion the last couple of weeks with us is 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards. We had a bonus point win 10 minutes into the second half. Kind of sat back and allowed Longford back into the game. But look, it's a bonus point win nonetheless. Puts us in second in the table, 1 point behind Carlow. Off a bonus point that they got from Dundalk, obviously. So puts us in a good position. Our seconds lost out narrowly, which was a scrappy game nonetheless. I don't know how we were as close. I think we were 5 points or 7 points we lost by, but we probably shouldn't have been, to be honest with you. We were a little bit away from the races. But good training session Wednesday night. We trained last night, and a good session now tomorrow night. And I'd say we'll be in good shape heading to Dundalk. But Dundalk will be all guns blazing too. 55, was it 55, Tom? You beat them by 50 points?
50-17. Yeah.
They won't want to be losing again, and they definitely won't want to be losing at home. So we'll have it hard, and I'd imagine they'll have a few lads extra that they wouldn't have available on a travel day. It's not an easy spin to get in and travel from Dundalk to Carlow, so
No,
they'll have a few extra fellas. But look, we're looking forward to it. It was good on the senior front. Try not to say too much because at the moment anyone in the top four can win it, and I know I've been harping on about a tie, and we have to see how well they go. They put it to Wicklow last week. They were 38-34. So I think Carlow will beat Wicklow in Carlow, and I think Tullow will beat Wicklow in Tullow. So I think it's a tie, Carlow and Tullow's league now to take. To be honest with you, if I'm going to give you my honest opinion, that's what I think. And I agree with Tom. Every game is like a cup game now because he just can't afford to give away any points for the remainder of the season. It's so tight. Rugby is so structured at that top four in the league at the moment. So yeah, look, it's exciting. It'll be good when it comes down to February and March and who's sitting where then. But women then had a disappointing loss, first home game of the season, lost out to Tullamore 24-12. They're struggling big time, a lot of injuries. Alex O'Brien is still missing. Alice Carroll isn't back yet. Alex is a big loss to the senior team. So yeah, look at senior front, positives and negatives to come from it, but like every week, we'll march on. And then we just in the youth section, I suppose we were quite weak as well, like same as Tom. But we had 18s up in Boyne, lost out in the last minute 24-19. Their first loss of the season. They've been incredible all season so far. But it might ground them a little bit and bring them back down, that they need to stay working and things aren't as easy as they seem. And then we had two lads off that team as well playing in the ISP last night, and Ty Grona from Carlow was playing in it as well. So Peter Burgess and Fionn Hickey and Ty Grona is great representation from the county to be playing at that level of rugby. That's the youth selected program. I think it's the official title for it. Yeah, so it's a Leinster sub thing off the academy base, but it's great for them to get game time there. And by all accounts, I think the three of them done their clubs proud and done themselves well as well. To be fair, they're highly involved in the game, so that's great to see from a youth section.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Johnny. The best of luck in those games this weekend. Boyne. Kilkenny have to travel to Boyne on Saturday for their game. Boyne sit in fourth on the table with 3 wins out of 5. Kilkenny 2 out of 5. Kilkenny sitting down in 6. So sort of mid-table sort of clash for them. Any idea, lads, on how that one's going to go, do you think?
I wouldn't have a notion on it now. Maybe Tom will.
What did you say? Sorry, is that home or away?
They're away. Kilkenny are away.
Yeah. I don't want to comment on it. It's not going to be easy.
No, it won't be easy up there. If it's at home, I definitely would have given Kilkenny the edge. I don't know what Boyne was. They good outside from last year. I mean, we played them last year. They're solid. Yeah. But you don't know I don't know what they've got since last season. But Boyne are hard to beat in Boyne anyway.
No, it's going to be an incredible.
That'll be a tough game. Well, it's a game Kilkenny have to win. You know, they need to bounce back after a couple of hard losses. And in fairness, it's the losses to the Monktowns and this. You know, it's not easy games.
Losses that they probably should have won.
Yeah, and they're not easy games. Like they've had Bective and they've had Monkstown. They've had the two hard ones, real hard ones there. So look, we'll have our fingers crossed for them. Hope they go up there and beat Boyne at the weekend. It'd be great.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we get 12. If we got 3 all together, it'd be great.
Kilkenny women head to absolutely, Tom. That's what it's all about. The Kilkenny women are heading to Byrne Hall on Saturday. The J1s. They're off at 1:30. Their game last weekend against St Mary's College was cancelled for whatever reasons. So that's what happened there. So that's the story, lads. Johnny, you're in action with SETU or IT Carlow, as we still call it. You're having a good week so far.
We had a good week. I still call it IT Carlow, and I probably get in trouble an awful lot from it. And I should be calling it SETU and promoting the brand. But we had 2 massive wins yesterday. We went to DCU and probably righted a wrong from the All Ireland final last year, and we beat them 43-7 yesterday in the league. So that was an incredible win. Then our seconds went across to TUD and beat them 55-5. So that puts them now in a semi-final away to Queen's University next Wednesday, and it puts us in a semi-final against TUD next Wednesday, first away. So that's a logistic nightmare for me, and to be in Dublin and in Belfast probably in similar times. But look, at it is what it is. That's the joys of success. But we're going really well. We're doing nothing different than any other club team. We're just trying to keep the enjoyment factor in, play a bit of rugby, throw around the ball. I think the most exciting part about college rugby is most of these lads are under the age of 22, so they just have a laugh at it and see what happens. It's going quite well for us with 54 lads training, 52, 54 lads training from all walks of the province, to be honest. We've some lads from Dublin, we've some lads from Kildare, we've some lads from Waterford actually coming up, we've lads from Cashel, we've lads from everywhere, lads from Buccaneers and Athlone, we've lads all over the place playing with us, and it's really good. So just hoping we can keep the ball rolling and maybe get a second home final. But if we win both games next week, we'll have 2 home finals on the 23rd of November, which would be incredible.
Great.
And the first actually technically you don't need to win at the moment. We're on 15 points, maximum points from 3 games. The closest person to us is on 5, and that's TUD. So they've had a draw and a win and a loss. So we will play them next Wednesday up there, and if we beat them next Wednesday, sure, it's just a formality then to play Limerick IT the following week. But look, we don't want to count our eggs before they hatch just yet. We have a lot of work to do between this and next Wednesday.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And just on Sam Cullen there, I know we mentioned him in injury. I just want to pass on his sympathies to Sam's family. Joe Nolan passed away there this week. Sam's grandfather, and also Jack McDonald, Tullow vice captain's grandfather as well. So I just want to pass on sympathies to Sam and Jack and the Nolan family.
Yeah. Absolutely, Johnny. Johnny, you're a busy man.
I got a shoot, lads. Yeah,
you got to head off. Yeah, absolutely. You're up the walls there like that. Great to talk to you. We'll catch up with you next week. See how you got on in your game against Dundalk. We'll talk to you next week.
Cheers, fellas. Best luck this weekend, Tom. Thanks.
Thanks a million, Johnny. Mind yourself.
Bye-bye.
That's it. That's Johnny Tobin there dropping off the podcast. We might have James Blanchfield before the end. But Tom, we'll move on to... we'll just cover some of the other bits and pieces that are going on at the moment. There's obviously internationals on. Munster taking on South Africa, or South Africa selection. But Ireland against South Africa last weekend, I could barely take a breath during the match. It was that sort of frantic. Some games, some win, but great little performances there from a lot of players, I suppose. And I think the most satisfying thing for me was physically standing up to South Africa and actually getting to a stage that South Africa started throwing the ball out wide and moving it that way. You really feel like you've got somewhere physically with a team like that when they start doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, well, look, I think it was summed up with Jimmy O'Brien's interview afterwards, where he had he said like the biggest, and I think it's the greatest advantage of having the South African teams in the URC. It's because our provinces are now playing South Africans week in, week out, and I think that whole fear of their physicality and their size, and it's like we said before, I think if it'll be nothing but a benefit especially to Leinster, who have been beaten in Heineken Cup semi-finals and finals by teams that have pummeled them up front, but they're getting used to playing week in, week out. So the fear of this South African bomb squad, and our forwards stood up to them.
Yes,
and there's no fear. There's no fear anymore. That fear is gone. So you have to be wary.
Makes them angry.
You have to be wary of them. I mean, they're a fantastic side, but I mean, we had only 45% of the possession. They had 55% of the possession. We still won and we spent, it was a 50-something% of the time in their half.
Made a lot of tackles as well, Tom.
Huge amount of tackles.
Yeah,
huge amount of tackles. I thought Johnny Sexton is just so important to the game. I know like he threw a couple of dodgy passes at the start, but when he got into it, and we knew himself after that, but you could see that how well he played after. But he just brings the ball right to the line, and I thought the team were outstanding. I felt really sorry for Conor Murray and Stuart McCluskey, after working so hard to get there.
Yeah,
But,
no, you'd like to see them stay on. But in fairness, when Conor added his thing to the match at the start of it, but Jameson Gibson Park came on, he added his thing. It sort of was a good time for him to come on as well. It sort of sped up a few bits and that. But like you said last week, Tom, Conor's game was probably you or Johnny or one of the lads said it. Conor's game suits a particular type of game, and particularly against South Africa. If you want to slow down, the intensity a bit and maybe kick the ball over their heads and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think by the time when Gibson Park arrived on, I think South Africa were using this real blitz defense, absolutely coming out of shooting up out of the line, and Mapimpi, he opened up. It was a Balacombe. He absolutely opened up with the tackle.
Yeah.
Or was it? No, it wasn't. It was our full back. He opened absolutely Keenan. I think it was Hugo Keenan. He opened up with the tackle, and because they were shooting up, by the time Gibson Park came on, they started to realize because they were shooting up those gaps in behind the shooters, and they knew where to attack. So the game changed. That whole game changed once we knocked that blitz defense. Once we were able to compete with the blitz defense and know how to counteract it. Mm-hmm. It changed the whole game immensely.
Ireland could have been even better on the night themselves. Johnny left a few points behind on the board from those kicks out wide. We had, what's his name, playing in the centre, Jimmy O'Brien. There was a lot of, it wasn't an absolute full-strength team and, everyone in the right positions. But Robert Balakoon, I know, was new into it as well. And, you'd all that sort of stuff. So, there's a lot to take from that as well.
Yeah, well, out of all the players, I think Balakoon actually probably had had a poor game, but I think it's just he didn't get space, he didn't get a chance to open up. It was, I'd say it's probably a bit kind of nervous. It's a huge atmosphere. You're playing South Africa. It's I think he'll have a better game this week. Hopefully will. I thought Jimmy Brown was absolutely outstanding coming on.
He was
I know he's played. I know he has played in the centre, but he's just. It's great to have players who come on and are able to play with a smile on their face and just come in and stand up to us. And they were just. I think he was just. They were just unreal. There's so many players like that young that's coming through that I think we're so lucky at the moment to have. But I think South Africa too, I think they're out. I think they really missed Andre Pollard at 10. Really thought they made Andre Pollard. They missed Andre Pollard at 10. I didn't rate their 10 at all. The kicking game was very, very poor. Brutal, the change at full back made a huge difference to them. So they're not going to be the same team when we play the World Cup. So you have to, but it's great to come out of the summer. The fact that they haven't played since the summer, we had a great serious win against New Zealand. But to come out of that, we needed to get a win, and I think it's just amazing to get it. We got that win, and
we're going to get better as well, Tom.
Well, absolutely, we need to get better. Johnny Sexton said.
Johnny Sexton
said we've won nothing.
Yeah.
We haven't won that, and we've won. I think we've won two. Three Grand Slams is what we've won in total as a nation. We've won Triple Crowns in that, so we haven't won a World Cup. We have, there's a lot there to be won. At the end of the day, success is by what you win. It's not being rated number one. Rated number one is great, but we need to back it up with a World Cup.
Yeah, Cian Healy said it. There's no medals for world rankings.
No.
That's it. There's the team for Fiji this weekend. It's an earlier kickoff, 1:00 on Saturday. So you have Jeremy Lockman, Rob Herring, and Tyg Furlong. Tyg is the captain, which is a bit of a surprise when they announced it during the week. Kieran Treadwell and Tyg Byrne, who's probably a lovely broken nose for himself. Caelan Doris, Nick Timoney, and Jack Cohn in the back row. And then you've Gibson Park and Joey Carberry, Mac Hansen, on the left wing, Stuart McCluskey and Henshaw in the centre, Balakoon on the right wing, and Jimmy O'Brien is a full back. And then on the bench, you have a nice bit of strength there to keep things balanced. Dan Sheehan, Cian Healy, Tom O'Toole, Cian Prendergast, Max Deegan, Craig Casey, Jack Crowley, and Gary Ringrose. Decent team. Expected, I suppose, for Fiji.
Yeah. I think it's brilliant to have Tyke. I think he deserves it. I think he was a bit shocked, but he sounded really shocked that he got captain.
Yeah.
I think but it's just phenomenal. He deserves every bit of it.
Yeah.
He leads by example. He doesn't have to say. I don't think he has to say a word. He just leads by example, and I think the whole nation knows that he leads by example. I think it'll be really interesting to see. I'd like to see Joey Carberry having a good game.
Yeah.
You know, Gibson Parker needs game time anyway. I think the centres, Jesus, I mean, they're two big centres.
Yeah. And you've Gary on the bench breathing down their necks as well. So,
well, they might need Gary will change the game. The only hope that I see, something that I'd like to see Jack Crowley getting a game of 10. Some game time at 10, but I hope he gets some game time with Gibson Park. That's what I'd really like to see.
Two lads firing the ball around.
And not just to come on, not just to have nothing against Craig Casey. I mean, Craig has been playing really, really well, but I don't think he's not the polished item yet. And I'd like to see somebody of Jack Crowley's ability to play with someone with the ability and the skills and the leadership that Jemison and Gibson, the Park has. You know, it'd be lovely just for an experience. But I hope that that's wishful thinking, because normally they make the changes. But it'd be fantastic if he did get a run of 10. Just be lovely to see it.
I can't wait to see him if he gets on. Just, you know, that energy.
But he's that, just a second ago, like with Jimmy O'Brien, he plays with a smile on his face and he's just enjoying rugby, and that's what young fellas do.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to now. Decent team out there as well. Nice little mix of youth and experience. Caelan Doris into 6 actually, just after Coppin, and Jack Conan is at 8 there as well. Jack needs a bit of game time as well. But yeah, no, all good. Max Deegan, good to see him in the back row there as cover. Yeah. He can cover a few positions. So Max was on the A team last week, so see how he gets on. It's all their opportunity to put their hands up as well, like Tom. Because with Six Nations around the corner and everything as well, everyone needs to be sort of breathing down their opposite numbers throat, you know, for those positions. So now is the time. If Jack Crowley wants a green jersey going forward, he needs to wrestle it off Joey, and that's it. I know it's early days for Jack and that as well, but this is the time to shine, as they say. These are those matches that do it. That's why I like these sort of matches. It's great to see a mix of different sort of fellas on there and see who stands out, you know.
I think it's super. It's you know, we need you need games. You need these games, and you need the Munster game tonight. It'll be interesting to see. Like the more games that Irish players get at playing at an international level or a higher level, you know, it was like the A's getting beaten last week. Like, they completely folded under a fantastic New Zealand side who just came with hunger and, you know, absolutely blew them out of the water. Yeah. You know, and it's not. I know people said, "Oh, does it shows up our maybe our depth isn't as." I don't think it's about the depth that we have. We have serious depth, but it's just. I mean, there's a lot of injuries there in the Irish squad. Between all you have to do is look at the Munster squad and see their injury list is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
and then there has been there's injuries across all the 4 provinces, but I don't think they were it's very hard. A lot of those players come off the bat of going down to South Africa and going on a trip, and you know, all those Kiwis want to make their place on the a lot of them lads want to show and prove themselves.
And the Irish lads, Tom, they're not even regular starters for their own provinces in a lot of cases as well. So
yeah, but so what if they got the backside handed to them? Like it's
good lesson.
It is a good lesson. That won't happen again. You know, well, please God, it won't happen again. But like, You need that. You need the game tonight. You need a game against Fiji. Like Fiji will be no pushovers, and like they'll throw the ball around. They'll hit. Yeah. They're big tacklers. They're big men too. So that's not. It's not going to be. They won't just. They're here to. They have the World Cup too to go to. So, I mean, everyone wants to. Everyone has something on the line.
Yeah. No, that's it. Tom, we're going to leave it there. Best of luck this weekend on your trip up to Gallara. After last week's big win over Dundalk, another big physical team, like you said, but go well, and best of luck, of course, to Kilkenny against Boyne, and Tullow are in action as well this weekend. They're playing Dundalk, so that's the local sub, and of course youths and ladies action and girls action across the weekend as well. Enjoy the internationals, Tom, and the Munster match and everything as well, and your own match, of course, and we'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Thanks, Stephen.
No bothers.